This is a demonstration of the FAST scheduler using the context of an event center. That's a facility that hosts special events like weddings, conferences, training sessions, or similar activities. As we'll see later in the demonstration, it also illustrates the kind of scheduling that would be done by a school or a university. The schedule or timeline is called Fall 2017, and I've selected a start date of September 11th, and the schedule runs through December 15th. So let's start by looking at some weddings that have already been scheduled. Here's the Culbertson wedding, Jameson wedding, Wiley Symes wedding, and I've expanded those to show the 3 different events or activities that occur within that wedding. There's a rehearsal and a rehearsal dinner. There's the ceremony itself, and there's a wedding reception. We can see more detail here if we go to a day view and slide over. There's the wedding rehearsal and dinner, and then there's a wedding ceremony and a wedding reception. Each wedding activity requires several different resources. We've included rooms and people, and those people have certain skills and the rooms have certain characteristics. So let's see how we created one of these weddings. To do that, we'll go over here to this templates button and look at the wedding template that I created. Now here are the 3 activities: the rehearsal and its dinner, the wedding ceremony itself, and the wedding reception. So let's drill down a little further and see how I've defined that first activity. Now recall, this is a rehearsal and a dinner following immediately. So I've modeled the rehearsal and the dinner as one activity. Now because this is a template, I've said this can occur anytime between the beginning of the horizon, which was the 11th of September, to the end of the horizon, which is the end of the year. This activity is going to be 3 hours long, and I've assigned a low priority here. You can use up to 1,000 different levels of priority that will affect the scheduling order. But since this is a template, I don't want to use this priority field at this point. I've called this template the wedding template. And I can put in descriptors, as many as I'd like here. This one was going to be indoors. I could put the client's name here. I can add up to 5 additional tags here. And these are all used for sorting, so that if you have large databases and you wanted to find all the indoor weddings, you could use that descriptor to find those. The important thing to see here is the resource requirements for this activity. The first one is a class facility, type room, name any. Now notice that I could have picked specific rooms here. There's some auditoriums and some meeting rooms. I chose to use the wildcard here and say, for the template, I want to be able to use any room that has the correct characteristics. The enforcement tab here is set to on. That means do not schedule activity unless the room that meets the qualification is available. I could turn this requirement off and ignore that constraint if I wanted to, or I could turn it to track. And this is useful. It will schedule even if a room is not available, but it will show the constraint violation. So you can see where you would need extra rooms. It's particularly helpful when you're looking at the people requirements. So if you turn it to track, you might say, find me how many additional people I have to supply. All right, now notice that this activity is 3 hours long, but this requirement is only for the first 1 hour and 30 minutes. So this room requirement is for the rehearsal itself, but not the dinner. So let's take a look at how we specified that. For the first hour and 30 minutes, I need a room with a capacity for a meeting with at least 30 people. If I look at the second room requirement here, its attribute is for a capacity for dining of 30 people. And notice that if I go back here and see when it's required from the 1 hour and 30 minute point to the end of the activity. So I've also required some support staff. Here is the event support staff. I need one of these people for the first hour and a half. And if I look at the second requirement here, I need a different kind of person, a meal support staff, any of these people, for the second half of the activity, from the 1 hour 30 minute point to the 3 hour point. There's some additional resource requirements here, and I'll explain them later. These are designed to force the activity to occur at times that I think are acceptable for a rehearsal and a rehearsal dinner. So I need the dinner to occur during dinner hour, of course, and I want the rehearsal to occur in late afternoon. And I want this activity to occur on or near a weekend, so I specified a timing requirement that it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. All right, once I have specified that activity within the template, I can save it. The system tells me if I've done everything correctly and saved it properly. And then I can look at the ceremony itself. Again, I have a room requirement, a personnel requirement. If I look down here at the predecessors, I also have a predecessor requirement, and the rehearsal has to occur before the ceremony. So again, I can save that. And now I can look at how I would actually create a new wedding. So let's say we want to create a new wedding. We'll click on that template and hit convert. And we'll name this new wedding, say the Brown Jones wedding. There'll be only one of them. And now I will hit the convert button. And what happens here is now created the Brown Jones wedding, and it's in a list called the Not Scheduled Course or Event list. So scheduling it is easy. I just click on the activity that I want to schedule, hit schedules, and it's processed, and it now appears here as the Brown Jones wedding, and it occurs right there. Now let's speculate that someone gives me a call and I'm the event planner, and they say, I'd like to have a wedding, but I'm not sure when could you have it for me? A very nice feature of the FAST system is this available to promise button. If I click on that button and select the wedding template, one wedding, hit the get available to promise, it says I could have a wedding as early as the 15th of September and be done by 6 p.m. So the person might say, I need something later than that, so I could go into the activity here in the not scheduled list, or in the I could create an activity and put an earliest start time on the date that the bride and groom requested. So there are some reports here that are interesting. We can look at the resource view. Here are all the rooms and when they're assigned to various activities. And I can zoom in on that, and I can scroll across that. I can look at also the people. And here's the assignments for the people. Now notice here that Sarah can work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Same with Rosemary. However, Jose can work anytime between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. So I've defined different availabilities for the people resources. And I can also take their vacations out and any other pre-assignments that would cause them to have different availabilities. So let's look at Rosemary and look at the calendar view. Here's Rosemary's assignments, and let's look at a calendar view. And if we scroll down here, we can see there's Rosemary's assignments. On a weekly view, we can look at her month view, and here on the calendar shows all the things that Rosemary will be doing. So let's go back to the activity view, and we can see similar information by going to this resource utilization button. If I click on it, and if I want to see what's going on in for Rosemary, I'll pick personnel, event staff, Rosemary, and look at her profile. This is the same information we saw on the previous screen, but I can also get a tabular report, and this is a list of everything that Rosemary is going to be doing. So this is a handy thing to give to her. Say, here's what your assignments are. You can do the same thing for the facilities. Let's say I want to know everything that's going on in room 200. So here's a list of events that I could post on the door of room 200 and show exactly what's going to be going on in that room. Now I've scheduled some things other than weddings here. Notice that one of them is called Intro to Marketing, and it's a class that's going to occur with sessions on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And those are sessions in week 1, and here's week 2, and here's week 3. So you can begin to see how I can build a pattern for coursework, for example, for a university or a school. If I go to the month view, you can see the pattern here, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday pattern. And I could double click on any one of these, and it shows what's going on. Here's the Monday session for week 2. It's occurring between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning. It's an hour long. It used room 100, and it had to occur on a Monday, of course. I've done a similar thing for another course here. Let me close this one. This one is Media in Sales. It occurs on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and it's also a 3-week course. And here you see the pattern. And of course, the way I built these was to use a template. If I look at my template list, I have a template for a regular 5-day week. I have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday template, a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday template. So I think you can see that it's pretty easy to schedule special events with multiple activities, like a wedding. It's easy to schedule courses that occur on a pattern during the week. It's also possible to schedule individual events. Let's look at this honors presentation. It's right here. If I double click on that, the honors presentation is going to occur between 10 and noon on the 29th of September. It has requirements for some event support personnel, 2 of them. The system picked Elmer and Rosemary. It also picked an auditorium, and the reason for that is if I look at the attributes here, I ask for a meeting room with a capacity of at least 400, but not more than 600. In other words, I didn't want to have my attendees for the honors presentation in a room that was too big that they would be just off in a corner somewhere. So you can put as many of these conditions on as you want. You can use an AND or an OR operator and create a Boolean expression basically that has to be satisfied when the system is picking the resources. So that's a reasonable illustration of how you can use the FAST scheduler for event center planning, like in a hotel or another event center. You can use it for course scheduling in a university or school. You can use it for individual events. Now, I haven't shown you all the capabilities here, but I think you can see that the FAST system has a very rich modeling capability. So we'd like to hear about your requirements and your specific needs for scheduling. Please be in touch with us. We'd love to help you out.